Hey everybody, it's me, CrystalMan2000, and welcome back to some more Donkey Kong Country Returns! And we're going to Wigglefine Wonder. This is an interesting level. It is one of the worst designed levels in this entire game, and it's one of the only ones I acknowledge is badly designed. But no game's perfect, so I kind of excuse this level. I think we all have that level, even in like our favorite games of all time. There's always that one level that we always look upon and dread for how badly it is. Like, perfect examples are like, let's get off this topic. This topic's going nowhere. There's a little squirrel. Oh, bye squirrel. Yeah. So I've kind of been exhausting my topics. Like I've been saying, last episode like the past few episodes, I'm kind of just doing a giant recording spree because I haven't recorded in basically 2 months, and it's very difficult to keep track of all the things I'm doing, so I'm kind of running out of topics really quickly. I'm just kind of exhausting them all at once. I've been getting back into TV recently, sort of. This might just be me, but like ever since like I got introduced to like doing a lot of YouTube stuff, both watching and editing, I kind of drawn my attention away from television, and I've kind of been getting back mainly with Netflix. Netflix is just so wonderful, and I've been watching some like old season DVDs of shows I have. One that I basically want all of you to look up right now if you are a nerd in basically any capacity. Look up the show Chuck, and if you don't like any of it, you cannot call yourself a nerd. It is just such a wonderful show, and I've been watching a lot of that recently. I think I think I finished season 2 recently, and I'm heading on to season 3, and there's a lot of other shows that I want to watch, specifically all the DC movies with like Arrow and Gotham and Flash, and people still think, well, I still haven't seen like super popular ones like super popular ones with like what's the guy, Breaking Bad and like Walking Dead and all that. So this is the bad part of the level I was talking about. That cannon launches you all the way over here, but you have to be down to get the end, and up above you may think, oh, that's a puzzle piece. It's just a giant, it's one of the 25 bundles. The 25 banana bundles, and I don't know why they would put us like such an easy to find secret there that gives you like a cool secret, but you skip the letter. It's very strangely designed, and that's like one of the only bad parts of this game that's like designed. No! Why did I let go of one button? Come on. I hate these levels that have like those giant secrets above the level, because you can't just tap the 2 button to get out of your balloon. It slows down the game pace. Like I said, I take this game very fast paced just because I've played it so many times and I know so much about it that I'm just able to just relaxing play it. That's why I wanted to do this after I did Ace Attorney, just because Ace Attorney I just had to keep talking about the commentary, and even though I had played the game before and I knew what happened in the cases, I still needed to keep interesting commentary. And Ace Attorney's not really built for like casual commentary, because everyone's kind of there for the story anyways. Anyone who's watching is mainly watching it because of the story. I think pretty much both anyone who's played Ace Attorney or done Ace Attorney, you're not playing the game because of its gameplay, you're mainly playing it because of its story, and I think that's what kind of restricted me with the gameplay, so that's why I decided to do this game next, and that's why also the next Let's Play isn't going to be a more story-driven game. After that, though, there's going to be another very story-driven game. I kind of been keeping that trend kind of around, sort of, because we go back all the way down to, like, almost 3 years ago, actually. Like, when I first started, I did Ocarina of Time, then immediately after that I did, what's the game? Super Mario Galaxy. It's kind of just been a common trend I've been keeping up of just doing, because when you do the big paced games, while you may have like good gameplay, there's so many like cutscenes that people are going to end up watching it for, and you got to kind of commentate on that. But once you get to like games like Mario and Donkey Kong, where the plot's just so ridiculously simple and ridiculous, you can just sit back and relax and enjoy the commentary. And I think that's why I haven't done too many of those games, because I'm not a great commentary. I said this. Actually, no, that was this episode? Yeah, it was this episode, because we were doing... No, it was last episode, because last episode was Spring Sport. Like I said, I record these back to back, so it's kind of hard to keep track. But now we are playing the most infamous level. I don't know, it's definitely the most infamous level in this world, and it might be one of the most infamous levels in this game, with a close second being 8-3. Welcome to Muncher Marathon. If you have acrophobia, just skip to this level, because it is one of the hardest levels in the entire game, and I'm not joking. So you may not be able to tell so far, but there are a bunch of spiders chasing us, and you gotta keep up. You gotta keep in front of them while still collecting like puzzle pieces and Kong letters, and it's very speedrun built level. And then you have sections like this, and it is so terrifying. The violin music just adds to the creepiness of it all. And then things like this, and you'll see later, like if it starts consuming the entire screen, it gets terrifying. These termite spider things. Oh my god, it is one of the best levels in the entire game. It's a little unfair, I can admit that. Like, this is where it gets terrifying when you start having things like this. And you kind of just gotta keep ahead of the pack. As long as it's not really difficult. It's just you gotta pay attention and keep ahead of them. Just keep rolling, jumping. It's one of the only levels that actually encourages speedrunning. And now we have the extremely terrifying moment. Welcome to the volcano of spiders. Trademark. And if you actually, I just want to point out, if you wait too long, the termites will actually go up to the barrel and destroy it. So it's a very quick level, one of the shortest levels in the game if you know what you're doing, but it can take a very long time depending on how good you are at the game. But I don't think we're gonna go fight the boss first. I think we're gonna head over to World 5. I think this is bounce and shoot or something. Blast and bounce. Same two words, basically. This kind of reminds me of a level in Tropical Freeze called Bobopolis, which is the second one. And that was one of the most that was one of the hardest levels in Tropical Freeze. And this might be one of my favorite levels in the entire game, because it's so creative the way some of the design levels go, because it goes pretty much directly against things you know. So you'll see what I mean when we get to the later half of it, but it has some of the most creative level design. And this is what makes me, I said this last episode, but it's really what makes me love this game, is how creative they can make the level designs while still kind of keeping to a formula. Right here, secret to the top left. A lot of people miss that one. You can get a big combo on this level that can get you 2 balloons if you play your cards right. It's right here. Now you're supposed to go to that barrel, and that barrel bounces you on top of that flyer that shoots you over here. So, we have this section, which this part always kind of confused me. I want to ask you guys something. Do you think Donkey Kong became tiny, or do you think that the tires became just gigantic? Because that always kind of interests me, because the tires look the same size, but since it's in the background, because I feel like it was kind of used as like a, so they didn't have to create like a smaller model for it for some reason. This is the best section in this entire game, and I'll show you why. You have to blast your way down. You can actually skip all of this if you know where like some of the barrels are located. If you don't know where the barrels are located, you have to do this ridiculous segment. And I usually die on that segment, but it's really cool, and it's a very underrated part of this level. You also have this section, This is really one of the most creative K levels, just because once it gets you your idea, once the level shows you the idea of the level, it kind of just goes all out. Darn it. Like, take for example the first one, it's just that repeated thing over and over again. This one, the topic for it is just so simplistic, of just cannons and bouncing on top of flying enemies, that you can really kind of just play with so many different ideas. And I might just cut back to when I get there because, like I said, the falling section, while I love it, it is insanely difficult, so if I don't make it there on my second try, I might just cut. Okay, so I think I might just cut back here to show you how this section is kind of supposed to be done. Like I said, I'm really bad at it, but... Perfect! Okay, so I'm gonna cut back here now, and... These kind of always remind me of thermometers. I don't know why. Over it all? Come on! Okay, that's gonna be a bit tricky now. And then it starts getting ridiculously fast and small, so... Okay. The butt clench is so real! And this is the greatest segment of all time. You do actually have to time it correctly, because it is possible to go shoot haywire and miss the barrel. But it's really cool. I got all the puzzle pieces. Okay, I got all the puzzle pieces. I don't have to redo it. But now we get the yellow jawbreaker gun drop, gumball, whatever, sparkly pearl. We got yellow, the color of bananas. So this is easily the best level. So even the game agrees with me that this is the best level because it has got the color of bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. So, with all that done, we're gonna go to Manga Ruby. Possibly one of my favorite bosses in the game. Possibly. I mean, World 6 is a very close second. I hate World 7, and anyone who's played this game knows why I hate World 7. And we're gonna be taking on Mango Ruby. And he looks like a mango. I want a pound. So this is a very unique boss. You can't fight the boss directly. Instead, you gotta go around and pound these buttons in. And the problem with it is that he chases after you while you attempt to get the buttons. And I already lost it. Great. But once you pound on the buttons, you can then bop on him. And that's basically rinse and repeat. And it seems like such a simple concept, but it's done so well. Okay. And speedrunners are a speedrun of this boss is very interesting because it involves a lot of boss manipulation and making him move the correct way so you can actually avoid getting hit. It's like right here, you take that weird path around so he has to loop all the way around, and then he lands perfectly in front of you to get a bop. Also, his area of attack, or his like hitbox, is kind of strange. You can't bop him directly on the head, and you can't bop him directly on the tail either. Oh, of course, alright. Whatever. Usually when he slows down, that means he's gonna try to like drop an electric ball on one of the ground. Yeah, he already did it. Okay, I did not think he would. I thought he would go under. Okay, and then bop, And he gets smaller and smaller every time, so it gets harder. It's supposed to get harder and harder to hit him. And he doesn't actually come out until you pound the first one, so I'm gonna go over here and get myself a heart. Okay, let's take on phase 3. And if you couldn't tell, he actually gets faster. So in phase 1, it's kind of possible to outrun Mango Ruby. Also, if you couldn't tell, the grass pieces are also rotating, so it becomes a lot easier to actually attempt to run away from him if you're running in one of the specific directions that's going away from him. But if you're not, come on. I don't want to have to do all this again. There we go. Like I said, it becomes such a tiny hitbox to try to hit. And now he's just ahead. This is really kind of a gruesome way they kill him, because they don't really knock him out. They basically just break his entire body and kind of kill him, which is very strange. But we gotta kill the flute man. Here we go. 22! It's actually possible to get a 23, I've heard. I'm not really sure. You kind of throw your remote in the air. I don't know if I said this before, but like if you throw your remote in the air and literally throwing it or you're shaking it from the beginning frame to the ending frame exactly, like perfectly, you can get a 23. I don't really know how exact you can get it, but finally we're done with World 5. And we're heading on to possibly the coolest world in the entire game, in my opinion. The Cliff. It has 3 of my favorite levels in the entire game. Anyone who's played the game, I think, may know which ones I'm talking about. As well as possibly the most difficult level in the entire game. And then, it kind of baits you out with the way some of the levels are designed. You'll see what I mean when we get to it. But that's gonna do it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, this is gonna be the end of my recording session. So once again, sorry for not uploading in a while, but that's gonna do it for this episode. So see you all next time. Bye.